Hi everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and this is Flosstube number 120. Today is May 15th, 2024. I'll be uploading this overnight, so it should be published on Thursday, May 16th. Happy Bridgerton Season 3 release date to all who celebrate. I'm really excited. I'll be binging all day long, I'm sure. I'm actually going to be starting a new project tomorrow in celebration, and I will talk about that in a little bit in the video. So yeah, I don't have like too much to show. I have enough, but I don't have tons and tons and tons. So hopefully this will not be a super long video, although you already know because you can see how long the video is already. But anyway, I want to just like jump in. I do want to mention that I did go to Stitch North weekend 2, so a retreat held by Evertote, and it was held in Brampton, Ontario, which is right outside of Toronto. And I went to that, was it like 2 weeks ago now? I'm not even sure. No, 3 weeks? No way. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks. It doesn't feel like it's been 3 weeks. Anyway, I'm not going to do a big recap. I'm not going to go on and on and on, I promise. And I know some people just are not interested in that. But I did want to mention that I went and it was fabulous. It was so wonderful. I had the best time. But I wanted to mention it because I'm going to just sprinkle in little bits as I go, like things I stitched or finished or received. So I'm not doing like a retreat recap, but there will be little nuggets sprinkled throughout the whole video. And again, I had the most amazing time. It was my first like really big official cross stitch retreat, and it was so wonderful. It was fabulous. I got to meet, I'm not going to list them all because I couldn't. I met so many people. There were so many Flosstubers there. So even I met people who weren't Flosstubers who I also know just from the cross stitch community, but like a lot of Flosstubers there. Anyway, I am signed up to go next year to weekend 2, which will fall on May the 4th. So I'm really excited because there's definitely going to be like some Star Wars shenanigans going on at weekend 2 next year. I cannot wait. I had just the best time. I know that I was very lucky and privileged to be able to go, and I know that that is not something everyone can do. So I do not take it for granted. I very much appreciate that I was able to go and just have the most amazing time with dear friends. And certainly if you are in the market for a retreat, if you're looking for a retreat, I would definitely check out the Evertote retreat. They have various ones. They have the big Stitch North retreat once a year in the spring, and then they also have like a fall retreat, and then they do little special things. If you can attend any, I would definitely recommend. It was just run so smoothly and just effortlessly. I'm sure it was a ton of effort on their part, but as an attendee, it felt very effortless, which just allowed you to just focus on just the experience of being there. It was wonderful. I will show you, I'm not going to like go through like every little thing, but I will show you some things I picked up while I was at the retreat. But first, let's start with what have I stitched in the last month or so since I last filmed. What have I been working on? Well, I've got 2 finishes, and I actually fully finished them too. And one is related to the retreat and one is not. So let me just show. I stitched this Mill Hill kit. It's a series from Debbie Mum, the artist, and it's a series, I think there's 6 of them, and they're all like coffee themed. And this one is the coffee server. And I was stitching this for my mother, and it's finished. And I'm stitching a companion for this, which I will show in a minute. Once I have both finished, I'm going to send those on to her. But this kit came with the floss, the fabric, and the beads, as all Mill Hill kits do. But this one, instead of being on perforated paper, it's actually on 14 count Aida. So I stitched this with everything included in the kit. And this is a Mill Hill brand frame. It's in the color taupe. And these are just little like frames that they make that fit their 6x6 buttons and beads patterns like perfectly. So there is my fully finished object. And, you know, it's not particularly like my taste. Not exactly. I like it, but it's not something I just, you know, would have been dying to stitch. But again, I thought my mom would like it, so I stitched this for my mom. And I had come across this at a cross-stitch shop in Estes Park. Well, it's not a cross-stitch shop, it's a quilting and yarn shop that had some cross-stitch stuff, but they're getting rid of all their cross-stitch stuff, so this was on closeout. So I picked it up then. And it was very, very fun to stitch and very easy to stitch. As far as Mill Hills go, it was one of the easier ones. I'm a little bit traumatized still from stitching this little guy, this little frog egg down here. Ooh. Oh, while I'm here, I've meant the last video or two to mention, and I need to do it while I'm thinking of it. Every video I'm asked about this piece right here. This was a stitch along that was done through Stitchonomy. And it was years ago, probably, it was pre-pandemic, I think, maybe 2019. I don't remember what it was called. You know what? That's not true. I think it was called Fantastic Fungi. And it was a stitch along that they did. And I think it might have even been like a free stitch along. And I do not know if you can still buy the pattern. But that is what it is, because someone asked me every video. It's Stitchonomy. I can't link it below because I don't know if you can even buy it. But check their website and see. They have tons of stuff on there. And it was just stitched with DMC. I think I used all the called for DMC. I dyed the fabric myself. So yeah, before I forget, someone always asks me, what is that mushroom pattern behind you? All right, so I had my fully finished. And then I guess I'm going to go just a titch out of order and just show you, because I'm working on the companion piece to that. And so let me just show that while I'm here. This one is called Coffee Pot. And like I said, there's 6 of them. So there's the coffee server that I stitched. This is Coffee Pot. There's also coffee grinder, coffee grounds, coffee cups, and coffee beans. I will not be tracking down 4 more of these. Like, they've been fine to stitch and they look great, but I don't need to keep going. Although the coffee cups one is really cute. Anyway, I'm just plugging away on this one right now. This is what I was working on this morning. And it's coming together. So I think maybe like, I don't think I can finish it today, but maybe tomorrow I'll be able to finish it. We'll see. And I'm going to frame it in the same frame as the other one so that there'll be a little pair of them. But I do have one more finish before we go full on into what I've been stitching on that's not finished. So this is related to the Stitch North retreat. So like I said, I am not going to mention all of the wonderful people that I met, but just know that if we met, if we interacted, you were lovely, you were amazing, and I loved meeting you. And that is true. Like, there was not one person that I did not enjoy meeting or chatting with, or, you know, even if it was a first time meeting or someone I've known and watched forever. Everybody was wonderful. But my friend Alexis, My Amazing World, also attended Stitch North. Now, I've met Alexis multiple times. She's local-ish to me. Before I moved out of Colorado and went on the road, Alexis lived about like maybe 40 minutes away from me, and we would meet up, you know, from time to time in person. Now that I've moved back to Colorado, we are a little further apart. We're like an hour and 15 minutes away from each other now. And we actually haven't had a chance to meet up yet in Colorado. But we met up at Stitch North weekend too, which like was great, right? Like I did kind of joke about all the people I was meeting for the first time in Canada, like, and they were all American, not all of them, but most of them were Americans. So it's kind of funny, like all these Americans like flew to Canada to meet up. Anyway, so Alexis and I got to hang out again after it had probably been like a year since we'd seen each other. And we went to check out the Tiny Modernist booth, and I love Tiny Modernist, and her booth was great. Like, I already owned most of the patterns, but I was like, well, I'll surely find something. So we walked up, and Alexis and I both like saw this one. She had a model for this one. It's "We Should Be Friends." And it was so cute. And Alexis was like, oh my God, look, like it's me. And then we can make her hair red and that'll be you. So we just like impromptu decided we were going to buy this pattern and then kit it up and start it. And we did. We started it like within an hour or two after we went and like got floss and fabric. So this is the pattern, "We Should Be Friends." We went over and found a piece of 40 count linen. There was a shop there. I don't know if anyone knows how to pronounce it. I should have asked the lady who was actually like, operating the shop. It's either Kimat or Kmat. I've heard it like all different ways. It's Kimat. And it's like I think it's just an online needlework shop. Anyway, she had all this fabric and floss, and she had a piece of Bestitch Me fabric that we picked up, and the color was Sand Dollar. And then we picked up some Cottage Garden threads from her, and then we went over to the Evertotes shop and grabbed some Roxy floss too. So this is like a mix. It's not the called for, it's just charted in DMC, but we used fancy flosses for this, and I've actually fully finished this into a flat fold. I do think I'm going to add some trim. I just haven't had a chance to like figure out what trim I want to use. So I think I'll do a trim around, but otherwise it's just a simple flat fold finish. So again, this is 40 count linen from Bestitch Me and the color Sand Dollar. So you can see it's quite a small little pattern. The model was stitched on 32 count and it was still pretty small, but this is like tiny compared. And we switched all that DMC out. So you can see we kind of like kept the color theme, you know, it's the same, but just slightly, maybe like a little deeper and richer. And then gave her red hair to be me. I backstitched our names, Alexis and Julie, just, you know, so you don't get us confused because we look so similar. But yeah, Alexis and I started this at Stitch North, and then I finished this shortly after. It was a really quick stitch. I didn't finish it at Stitch North, but I finished it when I got home. And I love it. I think it came out so cute. Like, oh, let me read to you what it says, because you probably can't see that. It says, "A day without a friend is like a pot without a single drop of honey left inside." Love Tiny Modernist. I will stitch just about anything that she designs. I have to say, Cheryl, the designer of Tiny Modernist, was running her own booth, and it was so wonderful to meet her. She is just an angel. She's so pretty and she's so sweet, and I just love that I got to meet her. I love her so much. Alexis tried to make her cry. Like we walk over, and you know, I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. And Alexis like walks right up to Cheryl, and she's like, "I just want to tell you that I appreciate so much that you design with diverse skin tones." And Cheryl was like tearing up, about to start crying. It was really, really cute. But I teased her all weekend that she tried to make Cheryl from Tiny Modernist cry. But it is important, and I think I just would like pause for a second to say, like, it is important to see representation and diversity in everything, and just to particularly highlight in the cross stitch community. it matters. It matters to people. And Alexis went to the designer and let her know, like, it matters to me, and it means a lot to me that you have, just on this little pattern, you have 2 different skin tones, and on other patterns as well. But like, it's important. The models, I already love like everything Tiny Modernist does, but seeing the models of some things was like, oh my God. So there's there's one that I can't remember the title. It might be Honeybee Goddess or Bee Goddess. And it's this beautiful woman with like a bee theme. I'll put a picture in if I'm remembering right now. And when this was released, I was like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. I love it. I'll get that eventually. But like, it wasn't like a drop everything kind of, but like, I loved it. But like, seeing it in person, that model was so stunning. And I know I wasn't the only one. I heard several people like through the weekend saying, well, did you see that model? I mean, it was just so beautiful. So I definitely need to stitch that soon. It was absolutely gorgeous. Okay, that was one retreat tangent. All right, so those were my finishes. I have some things I've been working on. Let me show you what I've been stitching on. So I did finish my part in an Ink Circles round robin, the first one that I agreed to do. I then agreed to do another, and I finished my section and gave that to Amy, my friend Amy, who's also in the round robin. And then while I was at Stitch North, I also agreed to do a 3rd round robin. And I have not even started that. I have to pick fabric and floss for that. So, but I finished my section from my first round robin. I need to send this off. I should have already sent it. I'm sorry, Miriam. I'm sorry. I will send this to you shortly. This is Elegant Squid. And I stitched this top left section over here. And Tara at Wild Woman Crafts picked the pattern floss and fabric, and she stitched this section over here. So this is half done. I will be sending this on, and I have already received the next one that I need to work on, and so I need to get going on that. This is let me see. I think the fabric's written down in here. I think it's a Bestitch Me, or is a Mystic Fabrics. Oh, it's a Mystic Fabrics 32 count in the color Aurora. And then the floss, the teal, is a limited edition Forbidden Fiber Company. And the hot pink is a limited edition, I think it's Live and Die LA. Yeah, Live and Die LA, limited edition, Pretty Flamingo. So I did stitch that. These stitch up really quick, but you can see why, in my opinion, the round robin is so brilliant, because even though it wasn't a lot of stitching and it went quickly, like, I don't want to, it's so repetitive to do that like 4 or 3 more times. To do it 4 times total isn't like the most exciting thing. So it is nice to just do your 4th and then let someone else do the rest. Okay, I started a Tiny Modernist. Okay, so I love Tiny Modernist, as we already discussed. And she sent an email just saying, like, you know, here's like her newsletter, just saying, here's what I'm up to. And she said, hey, like, over on my Patreon, I am doing a stitch along. And it got me. It got me. So I went and signed up for her Patreon so I could do the stitch along. It's called Forest Friends. And actually just today, the next part came out, but it is half done right now for me, but this section down here has come out. So there'll be the 4 little sections. Not a ton of stitching, easy stitch along to keep up with. This is stitched with the called for DMC, and except for the border was just a DMC Blanc, and I found a limited edition variegated floss that I'm using for the border, just to give it a little something something. And this fabric is a 30 count fabric, I believe, and it was hand dyed by my friend Diana. It is Kismet Stitches, who I got to meet at Stitch North. Oh my god, it was so great. Diana, I love you so much. So anyway, Diana dyed this for me like a long time ago. I've had it for a while, and it was just kind of sitting in stash, and I was like, you know, I think that might be perfect for this. And it is. And it's the perfect size. That's exactly the size of it. I didn't trim it or anything. That's exactly what size I had. So this is looking great. Like I said, the next part just came. If I remember, I'll put a picture in. The next part just came out. It takes like, you know, maybe 2 days to stitch those. They're not bad. Okay, while I was at Stitch North, I did want to start something. I took some whips, like some house projects that I thought would be good for fill-in. I didn't touch them. So all I stitched at Stitch North was new starts. And that's fine. So anyway, I got there. And so before Alexis and I decided to start the We Should Be Friends, I think it was the day before. Oh yeah, because the retreat started Friday and Tiny Modernist wasn't there Friday, but she was there Saturday. So Friday at the retreat, I wanted a new start. So I grabbed, I had brought this Owl Forest kit. It's called, it's Kikimora. And I had brought it because I had just fully finished Baba Yaga, which I showed in my last video. And so I was like, you know, maybe I'll start the next in the series. So this is Kikimora. And so this kit, I don't know if this is still how they send these, because I bought this in like 2019, long time ago. But this includes like a needle minder, a needle, all the floss, fabric, and then a pattern, of course. So anyway, it was nice to just grab this and throw it in my bag and know everything was in there except for a hoop. And I was trying to decide what I wanted to work on Friday, and I didn't want to get any of my whips out. And so I said, you know, I think I'm gonna start this. It's calling to me. So I didn't get a lot done because I was at a retreat and it was the first day. So I was meeting everybody, but this is what I did. These colors of fabric tend to really struggle to show up on camera. So hopefully it looks okay, but you might be seeing it switch from like a mustardy yellow to like a more neutral brown. Usually if I kind of hold it back, it'll kind of show like the real color. It's a golden, like kind of mustardy color. Yeah, so there's my little start on that. These stitch up quick. They're not big patterns. And this one, even, I just feel like will go really quick. I only worked on it for a day because then the next day we started that Tiny Modernist. So I haven't had a chance to get back to that. But I know once I do get back to it, it should be a quick finish. Okay. I only have one more whip to show. So I did finally start the Witchy Stitcher Tarot, Nostalgic Tarot Stitch Along. So this was a Patreon pattern that came out months ago. She did like a Lisa Frank style tarot card. And then she was so inspired that she did like another one. And then someone was like, well, why don't you just do like the whole deck or like the major arcana of the deck? And she was like, yeah, I think I could do that. And then somehow we ended up like, someone asked her for a frame. So anyway, it turned into this big thing. It was only supposed to be like one little cute pattern, and then it turned into like this big stitch along. So if you are on her Patreon, you can access these patterns. They do go away after a certain amount of time, but you can buy them in like her Patreon shop. You can buy like the past releases that are no longer available for current subscribers. I don't believe you can access them unless you are like a member of the Patreon. And then at some point, these will be on her website for like anyone, for the general public. I've been a member of her Patreon from like day one because I love her and she can do no wrong. But also like it is a very good value Patreon. You get the pattern, sometimes 2 patterns a month, and they're like always very good patterns. So anyway, I love the Patreon. And I've been meaning to start this forever, and I finally did. So it is going to be a really big finished piece. Like the frame is huge. And so I'm doing mine on 28 count Monaco, but I'm doing it over 1 instead of over 2. And that is just so I can fit it all on this piece of fabric. So this is 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. I don't know how it's going to show up for you on camera, but what it is I did almost like a rainbow modeling on the white fabric, and then I over dyed it with black. So it might just look black to you. It might just look charcoal. Maybe you're seeing all those like undertones. I don't know what you're seeing right now, but I can tell you what it is very subtle, like glowy rainbow underneath that black. And I'm stitching it with the called for DMC. And like I said, it's over 1, so teeny tiny little stitches. And it's a lot of stitching. It's daunting. It's daunting, but it looks so great. I will hopefully put a picture in of what's out so far, like how it's looking. It looks incredible. I love Lisa Frank. I love rainbows. I love all of it. It's a lot of stitching. So I only got to work on this for like 2 nights, and then I was like, I'm going to take a break so I don't get burnt out on all because it's already a lot of stitching. And then when you're doing over 1 on 28 count, it's like all that teeny tiny stitching. It's certainly at a high likelihood to get burnt out. So just wanted to like kind of take it slow on that, but I do love how that's looking. I'm really excited about that. And highly recommend the Witchy Stitcher Patreon. If it's something you've thought about joining, I recommend. Okay. So, let me show you a few things I've acquired since my last video. Most of these are from Stitch North. So first of all, the Smalls Exchange. I showed last video what I had stitched and finished for the Smalls Exchange, and Helen, the Ditty Stitcher, actually grabbed my bag off the table. She didn't know it was mine, but she grabbed it and she loved it. And it was such a joy to meet her. She is literally an angel on earth. She is the sweetest. She's so sweet. It was awesome. She was so thrilled that she got my small. So that was awesome. If I remember, I'll put a picture in, but, I went over to the table and I was like, how do I pick? Like, I'm so overwhelmed. How will I ever pick? I didn't know what to do. So finally I just grabbed like the bag that looked the most fun. I think it was like a galaxy blue navy bag with like stars on it or something. I don't remember, but it just looked fun. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm taking this one. So it ended up being it was a good thing. So I'm trying to get some of this isn't everything that came in the package for like extras, but I'm just trying to grab some of the extras that were in there. So I grabbed, the small that was stitched by Michael Jones from Texas, and he stitched Irison from a Vincent van Gogh, like tiny masterpiece. I think is what these are called. I think it's a series, like there's a seller on Etsy who takes like famous paintings and makes them little stitches. This is a painting that's in the actual like Vincent van Gogh museum, I think in Amsterdam. So anyway, I love it. He is actually one of my favorite artists, and one of the highlights of my trip to the UK and to Ireland was visiting all of like the national museums, the big museums, and seeing these paintings. Not this painting, but his paintings in real life. So anyway, very happy, but there were several goodies in the package. I'm not going to show all of them, but I did want to show just a couple, because first of all, there were these counting pens, decorative pens, and these are from Jersey Girl Stitch Company. And so I just thought these are just stunning. They're very beautiful. So some little decorative pens, and then the part I was like so excited about this. I don't know if this is, I assume this is, we'd call this like a floss ring. It could be a brace. No, it's too big to be a bracelet. It must be like a floss ring. anyway, he gave me this. It has all these little cute Texas charms. Like there's a steer, there's a cowboy boot, there's a cowboy hat, a Texas charm, and then this, oh God, is it called Goldstone? That might not be right. Oh, someone told me what it's called. It's like a famous like Texas stone. I think it's called Goldstone. That someone might be screaming at me right now that that's not what that's called. Anyway, I love it. And it jangles so nicely. I love it. I like really love this. I just, give me bling and sparkles and I'm happy. So anyway, that was the small that I got and I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I still love it. I love it. And Michael was so sweet. So Smalls Exchange, I saw some great things. We didn't like lay them all out for everyone to see, but just like walking around, I saw people going like, oh my God, look what I got, you know, and I would stop and like, there were some great things, in the Smalls Exchange. It looked like everybody was pretty happy. So, that's what I got on the Smalls Exchange. What else do I have here? Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, Liz, she made me this bag. This is so cute. I added this little zipper pull. This wasn't on there. But anyway, we finally got to meet in person. We've chatted like for years. And she was like, oh, I made you something. And so she made me this little zipper pouch, which is like so cute. And then she was like so proud that inside she's got this fabric with all these books on it, which is absolutely perfect. I also love the outer fabric. It's got these cool like palmistry hands and moons. It's a very cool fabric. I love this. So she made me this little zipper pouch. I was really shocked at how like generous people were with things like this. There were just people were giving out needle minders, thread bling, stickers, just like so much like stuff that people were handing out. And I felt bad because I didn't bring anything like that. And I guess I didn't realize maybe I should or could. I mean, it's not required to do that, but I think next year I'm definitely bringing something. I don't know what yet, but like, you know, I'm bringing something to like be able to give people because it was really nice. And actually, a lot of people like, they might give you like floss drops, but like they'd be on like a cute ring with like maybe a little charm. But then on the floss drop, it would say like their Instagram handle or their Flosstube name, like something like that. So that you could like, it was almost like a calling card, but also like something useful. And I did actually use a lot of those floss drops while I was at the retreat and even afterwards. I've used like at least half of the floss drops I was handed. So it actually came in handy. So I'm gonna bring something next year, I promise. All right, so I was trying so hard not to shop because I don't really have the budget to do that right now. But you know, I was like, well, I'm gonna treat myself to a few things, of course. But I was really trying to stay away from the vendors. So I really had only gone to like the Tiny Modernist shop, and then the Evertote shop. And I was trying to be good, but I ended up wandering over to the Sheba Designs, like where she makes project bags and project portfolios. And oh my God, they're so nice. They are so nice. And I finally like broke down and I was like, all right, I'm getting one. But then I didn't have to because my friend Amy, Gable Stitcher, was like, you know, I never like sent you a birthday present. So let me get this for you, like for your birthday, which was amazing because then I didn't have to have the guilt of getting this for myself. But anyway, this is the project bag I got. It's Tula Pink. She had several Tula Pink fabrics. And it's just, I mean, it's like made exquisitely. There's cute little charms on here. I love it. Like I literally, I was looking at all these different ones and they were all so beautiful. Like I was like, oh, this one, this one, this one. I don't know, oh, this one. And then I picked this one up and I was like, ooh. And then I turned it over and like I screamed. And Melissa, the owner of Sheba Designs, was like, oh, well, if a bag like elicits a scream from you, like that's probably the one. I was like, okay, you're right. This is the one. So I love it. there's my bag. And then I did grab also this little like thread bed. It doesn't match, but I thought it was pretty. Actually, I love this fabric. I don't know, this isn't Tulip Pink. I'm not sure who it is. Oh, I love it. I almost got a big project bag in this fabric until I saw the other one that I ended up getting. But yeah, just a cute little thread bed. So that's what I got from Sheba Designs. On Friday, Hand Dyed by Rolanda was there. Oh my God. Her booth was awesome. I grabbed some cotton, 50 yard, 6 strand skeins of cotton. I just, these colors were calling to me. I didn't know for what, but they were calling to me. This is blackberry and phthalo green. So I just thought those were pretty. And then I wandered over to where the fabric was, and this linen, it's a 36 count linen, but it just like screamed at me. And then I realized these colors actually go really well on here. So I'm feeling like, here's what I'm thinking. A Modern Folk Embroidery or a Marumi Designs. Probably Marumi Designs because these are like her colors. Miriam, these are like more her colors. Bright, she loves bright, colorful. Jacob also at Modern Folk Embroidery does things bright and colorful too, but it just feels like, this feels like Miriam. So I think I need to figure out what I want to stitch from her that I can make into like a 2-color design. Oh my God, that fabric is so nice. I love that fabric. It was so funny when I was checking out, Rolanda, the creator, was there, and it doesn't have a name, by the way. I did ask if there was a name for it, and she said no, not for, I don't know if she generally doesn't have names for her fabric or if it was just for like what she was selling that day. But she took it to like bring it up, and she was looking at it and she's like, wow. She's like, I impress myself sometimes. And it's so true. Like let me just grab it and show it one more time. It's so pretty. Aurora Borealis is what I would name this for sure. But it doesn't have a name. But we're just gonna call it Aurora Borealis. That is its name. And no, I did not see the Aurora Borealis, and I don't really want to talk about it. I'm still upset about it. Okay. They were somewhat visible in Colorado, but not really. It was one of those, like, if you put your camera on night mode and put it on long exposure, like you could see it through your camera, but you couldn't really see it with the naked eye. At least that's my understanding of what I was hearing from people who were posting their pictures, was that they could maybe see a hint of something, but not really. But through the camera, they were able to get some pretty impressive pictures. But I did not see it with my naked eye. So I still need to make a little trip to like Iceland and actually see them, or Northern Canada, something. I want to see them, like, still on my bucket list because I didn't get to see them. Okay. Just a few more things to show. This is not everything. This is not everything that I got. It's just like some highlights. So Lollipop Stitches came to the retreat all the way from England, from Birmingham. Did I say it right, Lolly? I think Birmingham? Birmingham? She says it a little different. Birmingham. Something sort of like that. Anyway, Lolly, my dear friend Lolly, we have been online friends for a long time. Lolly is in the Dark Queen support group with me and Alexis. But anyway, she made me a project bag, and it's a really, really good project bag. Like, it is quality. This is a quality vinyl front project bag with a really cute little scissor pull. Anyway, she made this for me, but like the part that I like screamed about was, and she made these for several of us. She made a little It's You I Like. This was, if you're like an OG Flosstube fan, This is like what, 2018, 2019, maybe 2019. This is old school. Diana, It Is Kismet, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy created this little freebie, and you can get this pattern on Michelle's Instagram. If you click like on her link in her profile, it'll say like It's You I Like freebie or something like that, and you can still get this. It was a whole movement. But anyway, Lolly stitched It's You I Like for a bunch of us and then made it into this cute little pillow. And then she put her little tag. Look at this. She has her own little like tags. Brilliant. I need to get something like that. That's so cool. Yeah, I screamed. I screamed when I saw this. I love it. Lolly. Oh, Lolly is the best. We had so much fun. Okay. I'm almost done. Allie Z is crafty. She braved the freebie table. Let me tell you, I tried to go over to the freebie table and it was like elbows were flying. It was wild over there. I tried to go over there and then I was like, nope. And I left. And I was like, maybe I'll go over later. And I never really did. But anyway, Allie was like, hey, I grabbed this off the freebie table because I thought you might want it. And she's like, you know, no worries if you don't want it. Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but I thought you might want it. And I was like, actually, I do want it. It's a boxer. It's Brenda Franklin Designs from 1991. And it's a little boxer. And the reason I was like, yeah, I will do it is it's not that big. It's 61 by 98. It's confetti. You know, it's going to be, it's not going to be like the smoothest stitch, but it's small enough that I can handle the confetti. This is a boxer with cropped ears. Most boxers these days have the floppy ears, which I'm partial to. But like if a boxer is being shown at a dog show, it'll have the cropped ears. But anyway, I love it. It was so thoughtful of her to grab that for me. So thank you, Allie. And then, is this the last? No, almost the last thing. So Alexis made me this project keeper. Look at this. Some zippered pockets right here. This is so cool. And she made this like the day before we left. Like she whipped this out in a couple hours. So she had sent me a like a little video of, she had made one for herself. And I was like, that is amazing. I love it. And she's like, well, do you want me to make you one? And I was like, oh, I won't say no. And she's like, all right, I got you. And then she whipped this out in like one evening. I love it. I love the fabric too. So this is I don't know if it has like, I don't know if she used someone's pattern or if she invented, I don't know if she like made this herself or went off a tutorial. I'm not sure. But I love it. And I will absolutely use this. Absolutely. Okay, last piece of haul. We went to Gita's, which is a local needlework shop that's maybe 20 minutes from the hotel. It's not far, maybe 20-25 minutes away, depending on traffic and whatnot. So I came in early, so I actually came in on Wednesday so that we had like all day Thursday to hang out, like me and some friends. And so on Thursday we went to Gita's, like before the retreat madness started. And Gita's is a cool shop. It is like, that's like a shop that you go like treasure hunting because there is so much stock and it's like old stock and new stock, but it's all just mixed together. And you just, the organization is a little bit all over the place. Like some of it's like by designer, some of it's by like theme. And there's like a whole section of just Christmas. It's organized, but there's just so much. And if you want to like go in and really take your time and like really flip through, you will surely find some treasures. I wasn't in the mood to like flip through every single pattern. So I was just kind of like walking around seeing what caught my eye. But Lolly found a primitive needle pattern from 2006 or 2008. Just sitting there, like it was down like on the bottom shelf in like a basket with Halloween patterns. And she just grabbed it out. I think it's Kindred Spirits is what she found, which I own already. So I wasn't too upset with her for finding it because I was like, well, I already have that one. But yeah, I was like, oh, what'd you find? And she's like, oh, just like, I found this. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You just found a primitive needle pattern? And she was like, yeah, she didn't know, like, they're incredibly rare and hard to find. And I'm like, were there any more? We couldn't find any more. That was the only one we found. But literally, like, it had probably been in that store since 2006, and it was just still there. So there are treasures to be unearthed if you are patient enough to go unearth them. But anyway, it was a fun shop. It was definitely worth the trip. But there was a model. So Gita, the owner of Gita, I don't know like who owns it right now. I think they might have sold it. I don't know. Anyway, they have their own like patterns there for sale. And they had a model on the wall when we walked in of this like gorgeous bird of paradise. And this isn't like particularly my style, but like seeing it in person, it was so pretty. And so Amy was like, I think I'm gonna get this pattern. And I was like, yeah, like it's pretty, do it. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I just keep looking at it. And I was like, well, let me go look at it again. And then I was like, I think I need to get that pattern too. So we decided, we both grabbed this. So we will, we'll stitch this together. So it's called Bird of Paradise. And this is not going to do it justice. Like seeing it in person, it's absolutely incredible. It's so beautiful. It's stitched on 28 count. It's 213 by 300 stitches. So it's very big, especially on 28 count. This was a big old model. It's just absolutely stunning. It's a mix of DMC and anchor floss and maybe like a couple there's a Krynic blending filament and there's a couple beads in there. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's huge, but it's not that much stitching because you can see all this like open space. But what really got me was the border. I thought the border was so pretty. And again, you have to see it in person to like fully appreciate like how incredible that was. All right, so that's all. That's not all my haul, but that's all I'm going to show of the haul. So I did earlier in the video allude to plans. So Bridgerton season 3 is premiering Thursday, May 16th, and Nuri at Shaded Stitchery, who I got to meet at Stitch North and hang out with, and she is absolutely lovely. She had designed a pattern quite some time back, and it was inspired by Queen Charlotte from the Bridgerton series. And when she released it, I was like, that's so pretty. I think I might need to stitch that, but like I just hadn't gotten around to it. And I thought, maybe now's the time. Like I'll start that as I'm binging season 3. So that's what I decided to do. So I'll be putting pictures in. This is, what the pattern will look like overall. And I was trying to decide on like my colors, and I kept going back to like something like inspired by like maybe a dress that was worn on the show, something like that. And so I went and like saved a few pictures, and I kept coming back to this one picture where she's sitting on this red velvet couch, and I just kept coming back to it. And I was like, I wonder if I can like do something related to that. And so I ended up looking through my stash, and I actually had this red fabric in my stash that Diana, my friend Diana, it is Kismet, had dyed and sent to me. And so I was like, that kind of works for like the inspiration picture. And then I went and I was looking and I found this DMC. Are these color variations? I think, yeah, it's color variations. It's 4220. And I was like, you know what? That feels like Queen Charlotte. It's like a periwinkle lavender like variation. And I'm hoping this works. I'll know soon enough. I think it looks pretty good. I think it works, but I won't know till I really start stitching if it's gonna work. And the reason I say that is just sometimes when you're stitching something on like a color this bold, it can change how the floss looks. So once I start stitching, it might just look like a white floss. It might not, you might not be able to see all of like the variation in it, or it might not look lavender, which is the primary tone. It's like a periwinkle kind of lavender tone. That might not show on this fabric the same way. It might just not look right. So I hope it looks right, because I'm really excited about the combo, and I think it matches the picture so well. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping this works. I'm going to start this tomorrow, and I will quickly know if it's working. And if it's not, I've got like some backup, like things I can try. So, those are my future plans. I don't really make plans, it's not my thing, but, that is definitely a plan, and that's the plan for tomorrow. Okay, that is all the stitching. I'm going to talk about books, and I don't have a lot of books to talk about, but I'm going to talk about some books. So if you don't care to stay for the book talk, you can head out now, and you're not going to miss anything. We're done talking about stitching. So I just want to talk about a couple of books. I've read several, but I'm just knee deep in some series right now, and I feel like maybe I'm going to wait till like I finish, and then I'll just talk about the series as a whole, rather than just be like, oh, I read book 5 of this 10 book series. Like, I don't know that that's really exciting for anybody. So I'm only going to talk about like three things, but I've read more than that for sure. So I did finish a series, so I'm going to talk about that now. I've been reading this for months. So I finished the Bonds That Tie series by J. Bree. Now this was, I believe, 6 books. If it might have been 5, but I think it was 6 books. And the first book, I believe, is called Broken Bonds. This was a series on Kindle Unlimited, and it's like was recommended as, for like a spicy, like fantasy series. So I had saved it to read, and then I found out, I was looking at my library, and they had these on audio, and they had all 6 of them on audiobook, which is rare for like more of like an indie series like this. It's rare to find the audiobooks. So someone at the library must have like specifically requested these books for them to have them, but regardless, they had them, which was great. So I did listen to these over the course of a few months. And I really enjoyed this series. So it's not like my favorite ever, the most amazing, wow, but it was just like, it was fast paced. The books weren't too long, super smutty and steamy, and just like overall, just like good. Not like, again, not the best ever, but like just like a really solid series. I really did enjoy this series. I think I rated a lot of the books like 4 out of 5 stars. So, like the premise of the series is, the world, it feels like our world, in terms of like technology and, like the world itself. Like it feels like our world, except for in this world, some people are just normal humans, and then some people have like magical abilities. And it can vary on what that is, but some people can influence emotion, or can read your mind, or are just like super strong and powerful. Like you can just have these different skills. But one thing that happens in the world is that you are bonded. You can be, not everybody, but you can be bonded to one or more people, and it's so it's like a mate. It's like a soulmate kind of thing. So the central bond is the person who has their bonds, and you can have one or more. It's not, I don't know how rare it is, but like not everybody gets to be in a bonded group, but it's not unheard of or like super rare, but it's considered like you're lucky, you're privileged, like to bond to somebody. And so It's an interesting premise because it creates this, like, it's polyamory, reverse harem, which is like not a term that's really used anymore. But it's a way to write a book about having multiple partners without like all of like the drama that usually entails. Because in this world, it's not unusual. It's just a way of life. It's like, oh, well, you bond to this person. They also bond to other people, and so everybody's just mixing and matching, and everybody's happy. It's natural. But yeah, most people are like bond to one or two people. Well, our main character in the story, Ollie, she bonds to, I think it's 5 different guys, maybe 6. I think it's 5. Anyway, she has this huge bond group, and she's the central bond. So that just means that she is bonded to each of them. They're not bonded to each other. She's the central bond. They're all bonded to her. Again, it's just a creative way for her to like screw all these guys, literally. I mean, it's a smut book. It's smut. So, but it was like, it's a fun premise. The world building was interesting enough without being too complex. And there is like a big bad foe that they're fighting. So, I really liked it. I think one of the reasons I really like this book is I've kind of discovered over the years, like, one of the tropes that I enjoy in a book sometimes is when the main character is like misjudged, like maybe on a first impression by the love interest. Maybe like they think, oh, she's snobby, she's stuck up, she's shallow or whatever, and they just like make an assumption and that's incorrect. And then instead of like the main character coming out and saying like, no, that's not me, they kind of, it's almost like a martyrdom, but not quite. But like the main character is like, you know what? I don't need to explain myself. Like, I'm just going to go about my job. Go about my business. And then the love interest kind of like realizes they were wrong. They really misjudged, and they have to like kind of eat some humble pie. I don't know why I don't know what it says about me that I love this trope, but I like eat this trope up. It's like the, just, I don't know. I guess it's like the proving them wrong. I kind of like that, that they like quietly just go, okay. Like, I'm not going to sit here and defend myself to you. You're not worth it if you've misjudged me, whatever. And then they go through their actions, like they prove themselves, and I enjoy that. And this book has that in spades. Like, the entire bonded group, these 5 men, assume something about Ollie, the main character, that is just not true, and treat her really pretty badly initially, until they come to understand the truth. Anyway, I don't know. That was a lot of words about that, but I enjoyed the series. It was a good series. I liked it. I do recommend. Okay, what else did I read? I read The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. So Leigh Bardugo is one of my favorite authors. I will buy anything she writes or publishes. Like, I literally, like, she is an auto buy author for me. If something is coming out from her, I'm going to buy it. And like this book, I didn't even know what it was about. It didn't matter. I was going to buy it. I think I had seen like on her Instagram, I had seen something that, maybe a vampire or something. I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm there. So of course, bought it day one, and read it like pretty quickly within a week or so of the book coming out. So, this was fabulous. She is the most beautiful writer. She's such a good writer. This was definitely different than anything she's written before. So Leigh Bardugo wrote the infamous Shadow and Bone 6 of Crows series, which is a young adult fantasy series. She has since moved into more adult publishing. So after that series, she wrote Ninth House, which is an ongoing series. There's 2 books out, Ninth House and Hellbent, which I also loved. That was her first foray into like adult fiction. And then this is a standalone. So this is a story about, it's hard to explain. So it's almost like a historical fiction, but there is some magic in here, but it doesn't feel like a highly fantastical book. It almost feels like a historical fiction novel, but there are definitely fantastical elements. But it's set in Spain during like the Inquisition days, and the main character is like a scullery maid, and she can perform little acts of magic. The mistress of the house like catches her doing it and is like, hey, this could be a social like climbing stepping stone for me if I can exploit this. So they get embroiled in like this big like magical tournament to impress the king. In the meantime, I couldn't even begin to like go into the details of this, but a man shows up to like assist in training her up in her magic, and he's like maybe a vampire, we're not really sure. He just shows up and has like this weird stuff going on, and you're like, so he's a vampire? I'm not trying to spoil this. This is like, some of this is in like the dust jacket here. I'm just mentioning this because if you're looking for like a blood-sucking vampire novel, like this is not it. It's not it. And I just don't want you to be disappointed. I would not call this a vampire novel. And I don't think she ever really calls him a vampire, but I think maybe like in the marketing of this book, it was kind of like vampires, woo. That's not the case. There is a man who has an interesting backstory. He's not a vampire, but it's great. It was very well done. Written really well. It starts off a little slow. It definitely like took I think it was like around page 60 that it really started to pick up, and then like I could not put this book down. I was like so absorbed in it, because again, she's such a fantastic writer. It's just exquisite. So I loved this book. Michelle Cozier, you will love this book. I know you will. If you haven't already started it. So the last book I want to talk about, Funny Story by Emily Henry. So this is another author who is an auto-buy author for me. I will buy and read anything. I will read her grocery list. Like, Emily Henry, in my opinion, can do no wrong. And I do, she is wildly popular and beloved, but some people don't like Emily Henry, and that's, it's weird to me, but okay. If you don't love Emily Henry, you're probably not going to love this book. But if you love Emily Henry, you will love this book. So Emily Henry writes romantic novels, but she has this kind of women's fiction, kind of literary fiction bend to her novels. They don't read quite like all of like the popular classic contemporary romance novels. Like, this doesn't feel like a Tessa Bailey or an Allie Hazelwood like rom-com. Her books they have, to me, like a little more heart, a little more depth. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but I think she's a really nice bridge for somebody who maybe only reads like literary fiction, but wants to like dip their toe into romance and isn't really sure where to start. Like, start with Emily Henry, any of them, with any of her books. They're a good like bridge. But Funny Story is, I think, her fourth novel. So her first one was Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, Happy Place, and then Funny Story. So I have given all four of those 5 stars, have loved all of them, but this is like top tier for me. I would say if I was pressed, like previously, I would rank them Book Lovers, Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, Happy Place. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, I missed one. So this is her 5th book. Book Lovers, my favorite. I missed that one. Anyway, that's how I would have ranked them. All of them 5 stars, all wonderful. But now this has got to be up there. I might do like this one. I might do like Book Lovers and Funny Story, but It's good. I loved it. I know it's so interesting seeing how people like enjoy Emily Henry stories and like which ones they love the most, because I think it's kind of telling in a way about what kind of reader you are, on which one like appeals to you. But anyway, I loved it. I recommend it. This is the premise of this book is that there are the main characters, Daphne and Miles, have been dumped and their exes have gotten together. So like Daphne's fiance and Miles's girlfriend were like childhood best friends, and they, on like the eve of Daphne and Peter's wedding, they realize like they're in love with each other, and they dump their partners and ride off into the sunset. This is not a spoiler. This is like on the dust jacket. This happens right away. So Daphne is in need of a place to stay, and Miles is like, well, I do have a room. My girlfriend just dumped me. So they end up like becoming roommates, and then they decide to fake date to like make their exes jealous. So that's kind of like the premise of the novel. Of course, along the way they develop real feelings for each other. So I loved it. I mean, I love Emily Henry. She does like witty, I can't talk, witty banter. Always like an unexpected, like deep emotional, like gut punch in her novels too. Like you won't always see it coming. Like this one, Daphne has some issues with like her dad. And so you kind of get this like heavy hitting, like, you know, childhood trauma element coming in. It's just, yeah, a lot of heart, but also like hysterical and funny. And then always like super steamy, really good tension and angst. Emily Henry books are not closed door romance. Like there are sex scenes, but they're not like super gratuitous or overly like detailed. But I think you get like enough detail that like they're fun to read, but they're not like my Kindle Unlimited like super smutty books. But yeah, anyway, I loved it, and I didn't expect not to love it, but I very much loved this one, and this one stuck with me. Like I was thinking about this one for days, and that's always like a really good indicator to me. Sometimes I'll finish a book and I'm like 5 stars, I loved it, it was amazing, and then I will never think of it again. It will immediately float out of my brain. You could ask me 2 days later and I'll be like, yeah, I did read that, didn't I? And it's just like, it's just gone, like immediately gone. And then other books, you just like, they stay and you think about them and they're like, you know, they stick with you. And this one, like for days was like, I wanted to go back. Like I wanted to pick it back up. I was like, well, I'm not done. And then I'd be like, no, you finished that book. You're done. But it just like really lived with me. So I loved it. All right. If you love Emily Henry, let me know your favorite Emily Henry, because again, I think it says a lot about, I've enjoyed all of them, but like I have a ranking, and I know like I love Book Lovers, but I know people like just did not like that one at all, and I think I know why too. And like People We Meet on Vacation, I very much love that book, but it's not like top tier for me, and for some people that's like their top tier. And I think it's fascinating. So if you're like an Emily Henry fan like me, like let me know your ranking. I'm just curious to know. I think right now my ranking is like Book Lovers, Funny Story, Beach Read, Happy Place, People We Meet on Vacation, maybe. But all 5-star reads. Loved them all. That's not to say like People We Meet on Vacation isn't still like top tier amazing. Okay, that's it. I'm tired of talking. I feel like I'm talking forever. All right, I'm leaving. Bye.